We have a reporter asking Guilbeault, how much more conventional energy does Canada need?
Climate change.
There were two mentions of climate change and commitments to continue moving forward on nature protection. As you will recall, during the election campaign, we committed to create 10 new national parks, 10 new marine conservation area, 15 new urban parks, and accelerate our achievement of our goals to protect 30% of our lands and waters by 2030.
How much more conventional energy does Canada need? That was in the throne speech. How conventional energy? How much more conventional energy does Canada need?
I'm not the energy minister. I'm not responsible. I'm responsible for nature.
Well, would you look at that? It looks like he's changed his tune pretty quickly. I wonder if Carney gave him a big old slap on the wrist for talking out and saying that Canada doesn't need any new pipelines. And right now we have Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre speaking with reporters.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'm very pleased to be joined by my Shadow Minister of Finance, Jas Halan. We also have our Associate Finance Shadow Minister here, Eric Lefebvre. Yesterday, the government tabled a Ways and Means motion with regards to 3 tax measures. Now, I'll just take a very brief trip down memory lane, not to go too far back, but of course, we Conservatives have been leading a crusade for lower taxes, to axe the carbon tax and the GST off new homes, to cut income taxes. And of course, when we proposed this, the Liberals said we were crazy, and now all of a sudden they are, at least in part, plagiarizing our policy proposals and adopting modified and watered-down versions of them. Their motion will partly eliminate the carbon tax, the GST off homes, and give a very modest, very tiny income tax cut. So tiny that it would be barely enough to buy you a cup of coffee every week at a Starbucks.
Speaking of coffee, the price of it just went up about $4 in Ontario.
But it's better than nothing. Conservatives came here to fight for lower taxes and more purchasing power. And so we are going to put forward amendments to this motion that will get rid of the entire carbon tax for everyone, for real, for good. We also push for the GST to come off of more homes so that we can encourage more building and more buying. And we'll push for a bigger income tax cut that people will actually notice, so that hard work really does pay off for a change. Finally, we are going to push for cuts in bureaucracy, consultants, corporate welfare, and foreign aid, so that we can match the lost revenue with lower spending in order to avoid adding to the deficit. Every dollar of deficit spending is a dollar of inflation that ultimately shows up across the country. We cannot print and borrow our way to prosperity. We need sound money again, and that means bringing down the deficit. So we will, that said, we are the party of taxpayers. We will vote for every tax cut, always and everywhere. We love taxpayers, and we want taxpayers to be better off. We will offer even better ideas in the future. And as I said a few weeks ago, I'm encouraging the Liberals to steal my ideas, because we have the best ideas. We've been winning the debate on ideas, whether it's on carbon taxes, inflation, housing, resources, drugs, crime. Conservatives have been leading on all of those things. And we're here for the right reasons, not for our egos. It's to get things done to make people's lives better so that they can work hard, have beautiful homes, in safe neighborhoods. That's our mission, and that's what we'll fight for.
Can I ask you about main estimates? Main estimates were also tabled yesterday, a $486 billion spending plan. We don't know how the money's going to get raised for that. I wonder if you've had a chance to review the estimates and whether or not you should vote on those before you see a budget and a fiscal framework.
That's a very good question. Just like Justin Trudeau, Mark Carney's spending is absolutely out of control. In fact, it's worse. Mr. Carney has proposed $130 billion of additional spending above and beyond what Mr. Trudeau had already baked into the prior budget. This is extremely irresponsible. Inflation continues to rise, and we want Mr. Carney to introduce a budget this spring so that we know the size of the deficit, how much it will add to inflation, how he's going to reverse the hemorrhaging of job losses in our country. And we're calling on Mr. Carney, who claims that he's a man with a plan, to show us the plan in one budget document. My caucus will be reviewing the estimates, David, and when we have a chance to do our homework, we'll decide. We don't want to decide on $500 billion of spending without having done a little bit of homework. So we'll have the pencils and the calculators out, and we will come back to you with a direct answer to that question.
Vous êtes un peu en deuil, M. Poilievre, de ne pas être à la période de questions aujourd'hui.
I don't like it.
Vous n'êtes pas à la période des questions. Est-ce que vous êtes un peu en deuil?
How does it feel
I
not
think you're
being able
both.
to
En français,
Monsieur,
peut-être?
monsieur, c'est correct. C'est la même question. I'll respond in both languages. Hey, I'd love to be in there. It's a great place. I love the House of Commons. I love the excitement and the thrill. And I've never really been a spectator of the House. So but I'm going to work hard to earn the opportunity to do it again. I consider it a great privilege that I've been able to do it for so long in the past. And I think the opposition has a great role to hold the most powerful people in the country accountable through question period. Thanks so much.
Will you take the same approach when it comes to speeding up approvals for big projects that you're taking with tax cuts? In other words, if they chip away at Bill 69 rather than repeal it entirely, would it have the Conservative support?
So you're asking if there was a bill introduced that would...
In the throne speech, there's going to be a bill to speed up approvals, one approval rather than two, deals with provinces. Is that something you would support in the name of speeding up projects, as you would with tax cuts?
The question we always ask is the proposal better than the status quo? If it is, then we support it. If it's not, then we oppose it. But I'll tell you, if Mr. Carney really wants to get things done, he's certainly not in a hurry to do it. These things are going to take a long time, even if he acts immediately. And he's talking about waiting till fall before any legislation will be passed. And he's only going in half measures. So I'll give you an example. The most direct path for a pipeline to Tidewater is to Northwest BC, but there's a tanker ban in the law. So nobody is going to start planning to build a pipeline west as long as that ban is in place. So he's got to get rid of that ban, or else we will not have a pipeline to the West Coast. So where is he going to send it then? Is he going to send it up to the Arctic, to Hudson's Bay, through Quebec to New Brunswick? Well, he won't say. Yesterday, he didn't mention oil, gas, or pipelines once. Look, if you want to get things built, you need to pass very tangible changes. Very simple. You have to get rid of the industrial carbon tax, the energy cap, the West Coast shipping ban, C-69. That is how we're going to get things built. We need to unlock our incredible resources so that our trades workers get $200,000 a year jobs that will make them all better off.
And speaking of the House of Commons, we had Andrew Scheer and Mark Carney go head-to-head, and Andrew Scheer just unloads on him.
I'd like to welcome the Prime Minister to his first official question period. This is where democracy lives, and this is where we provide rigorous scrutiny on every word he says and every dollar he spends on behalf of Canadians. Now, let's talk about those words and dollars. During the election campaign, it was elbows up as he put retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. Then secretly, he dropped those tariffs to effectively zero. But he didn't stop there. He told Canadians that the government would collect $20 billion in revenue from those tariffs and use it to cost his platform. Now that those tariffs are going to bring in $0, two quick questions. Why wasn't he honest with Canadians during the election? And how is he going to make up the shortfall? Is he going to borrow it, print it, or tax it?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, may I first thank my constituents from Nepean for giving me the honour of being here. And could you also indulge me to say how great it is to see you in the Speaker's chair, and I trust that you're operating under the period of grace that will not be accorded to me. Appropriately, as the Leader of the Opposition just said. Mr. Speaker, our tariffs have maximum impact on the United States, minimum impact on Canada, and we are dedicating all the revenues from those tariffs to supporting the workers and businesses affected by the unjustified American actions.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Well, he didn't take long to pick up old Liberal habits of not being able to answer questions. But since the election, Canadians have been inundated with grand rhetoric and pretty speeches from this Liberal Party, but they are still suffering under all those policies. Household debt up at record levels. Number of people who can't pay their mortgages increasing, food bank use continuing to rise. Now TD Bank is forecasting a recession with hundreds of thousands of lost jobs. The PM said undoing the damage of the last 10 years would require great speed, but he's not going to table a budget for 6 months. If he's the man with the plan and the guy you hire in a crisis, why won't he table a budget before he goes on summer vacation?
To add to that question, why don't they just cancel the summer recess? I don't even think it was an actual talking point that was brought up at all during this question period.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I understand the member of the opposition is very busy. Didn't have a chance to study closely the 100-day plan of the former member from Ottawa, Carleton, which did not include a budget. Our plan includes legislating. Our plan includes legislating for one Canadian economy and nation-building projects immediately to grow this economy, and we expect the support from all in this House.
I swear he just embarrasses himself every time he opens his mouth. At least Pierre and the Conservatives had a plan. And honestly, Carney, it sounds like you should study said plan because you don't have one currently.
The opposition.
They must be really afraid to come clean with Canadians if they're going to punt it off into the fall. But, Mr. Speaker, with the throne speech yesterday, Liberals have effectively admitted that it was their policies that caused the suffering for Canadians. Their reckless borrowing and massive deficits caused the inflation. The carbon tax drove up prices and drove away investment. And their anti-development bills chased jobs out of Canada. Now, the Prime Minister is claiming that somehow the Liberals have changed. Well, he has a chance to prove it to Canadians. If he's serious, will he tell Canadians that pipelines are part of his values by repealing Bill C-69, the No More Pipelines bill?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Canada's new government is acting immediately to grow this economy. I just made my maiden speech in this House. Canada's new government, Mr. Speaker, is acting immediately to grow this economy. One Canadian economy out of 13, nation-building projects, one project office, working with the provinces to cooperate. We expect the support from the members opposite.
I don't see a lot of confidence in the people behind him. Just pointing that one out. A lot of faces with very blank expressions.
The Honourable Member for Charlebourg-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister campaigned on the slogan, the man with a plan, but the problem is that he's refusing to tell Canadians what that plan is. A budget would have been a plan. The Liberals are going to go over a year without tabling a budget. That's never happened since the 60s. But what we do know is that this Prime Minister is determined to spend even more than Justin Trudeau, and he's refusing to tell Canadians how he intends to spend their money. What is the Prime Minister trying to hide about this Liberal government's finances? Mr. Speaker, the new Canadian government has a plan. It has a daring plan, an ambitious plan to bring together the Canadian economy, have one economy instead of 13, and in order to create new projects to build this great nation. The Honourable Member for Charlebourg-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, what I'm seeing in front of me is the same ministers, the same government that's been in place for 10 years. We know the result of 10 years of this Liberal government. And what we have now, yes, is a new Prime Minister, but a Prime Minister with no plan. He said he had one, but he doesn't want to table a budget because he knows perfectly well that his plan is disastrous and that our public finances are in a terrible state. Will this Prime Minister commit to tabling a budget before the summer? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This government will act immediately to cut taxes on the middle class by hundreds of dollars for the average family. We will also reduce or remove GST on new home builds. We have a plan, and we will be bringing in that plan immediately.
Well, and there you have it. It's painful watching Mark Carney speak publicly. And he boasts about having a new government, but I mean, just look at that front bench. That does not say new government. Well, I want to know what you think down in the comments section below. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you're new, and thank you very much for watching.